From the smoke, the distress signal pierced through the quantum-entangled communication network like a scream in the void. Jassy stood in the command center of the UNSC Prometheus, her neural interface flickering with translated alien text that made her blood run cold. "Commander, you need to see this," she said. Her voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. Daniel crossed the bridge in 3 strides, his combat exoskeleton servos whispering with each movement. The holographic display materialized between them, showing a star system 47 light-years away. The message played again, its universal translator struggling with the alien phonetics. ... Colony under siege. They consume everything ... Please ... Anyone ... Help us ... The Corvathi, a peaceful species that had made first contact with humanity 12 years ago. They'd shared their medical technology, their agricultural advances, and most importantly, their warning: stay away from the Perseus arm. Something lived there. Something hungry. How long until we can jump? Daniel asked, his jaw set. The quantum drive needs 6 hours to recalibrate from our last transit, Jassy replied, her fingers dancing across her haptic interface. But Dan, we're just a reconnaissance vessel. 200 Marines against whatever made the Corvathi scream for help. Daniel's eyes met hers. Calculate the jump. I'll brief the squad. 6 hours later, the Prometheus tore through space-time, emerging in the Corvathi home system in a flash of Cherenkov radiation. What they saw defied comprehension. The Corvathi capital world, Venthyr, was wrapped in what looked like organic webbing kilometers thick, strands of biomatter that pulsed with sickly bioluminescence. Massive creatures, each the size of a skyscraper, crawled across the planetary surface, their bodies a nightmare fusion of insect and fungus. The Devourers, Jassy whispered, accessing the classified xenobiology database, the galaxy's oldest nightmare. They strip worlds bare, consume all organic matter, then move to the next system. No one's ever survived an encounter long enough to fight back. Daniel's expression didn't change. Then we'll be the first. The drop pods launched like meteors, their ablative heat shields screaming through Venthyr-S atmosphere. Jassy rode in Pod 7, her powered armor systems running final diagnostics. Around her, Marines checked their rail rifles and plasma charges, weapons designed for a war humanity hoped would never come. They crashed into the outskirts of Venthyr-S, capital city. What remained of it, Corvathi civilians huddled in the ruins, their four-armed bodies trembling, their crystalline eyes dull with despair. The Devourers had herded them here, Jassy realized. Kept them alive for later consumption? Perimeter now. Daniel's voice cracked through the coms. Jassy, get those civilians to the extraction point. Everyone else on me. The Devourers came like a living tsunami. Their shrieks operated on frequencies that bypassed helmets, directly stimulating the brain's fear centers. Several Marines froze. Jassy didn't. Her neural implant flooded her system with counterchemicals, suppressing the biological terror response. She raised her rail rifle and fired. The hypersonic tungsten round punched through a Devourer's carapace at Mach 7, the kinetic energy liquefying its internal organs. It barely slowed down. They're regenerating. Someone screamed. Thermal rounds. Jassy barked. Their carbon-based burn them? Plasma charges turned night into day. The Devourers shrieked, but these weren't cries of pain. They were calls for reinforcement. The webbing on the planet's surface pulsed, and more creatures emerged, each larger than the last. Daniel stood his ground at the defensive line, his heavy rail cannon tearing through Devourers with mechanical precision. But for every one they killed, 3 more appeared. The math was simple and brutal. They would lose unless JASSIE single quote S mind raced. The Devourers operated as a collective consciousness, their bioelectrical signals synchronized. If she could disrupt that double quote Dawn, I need 2 minutes. You've got one. Jassy sprinted to the nearest Devourer corpse, ignoring the bullets and plasma fire screaming past her. Her armor's analysis suite worked overtime, mapping the creature's neural pathways. They're a ganglion cluster that acted as a biological relay. She pulled out a quantum resonator, a device designed for analyzing alien technology, with modifications ... seconds. The defensive line was collapsing. She rewired the resonator to emit a broad-spectrum electromagnetic pulse at the exact frequency of the devourer's neural synchronization. It would either disrupt their collective consciousness or do absolutely nothing. Fire in the hole! The pulse erupted outward, invisible but devastating. Every devourer within 5 kilometers froze mid-attack, their collective consciousness shattered. They began attacking each other, their individual minds unable to coordinate. Fall back to the pods? Daniel roared. Move, move, move! The Marines carried wounded Corvathi civilians, their combat armor straining under the load. Gassi covered their retreat, firing until her rifle's barrel glowed cherry red. A devourer's claw scraped across her shoulder plate, leaving gouges in the composite armor. Daniel's hand grabbed her wrist. Time to go, Commander. The Prometheus hung in low orbit, its point defense systems creating a protective umbrella of tungsten and laser fire. The pods launched upward, leaving Venthar's nightmare surface behind ... in the ship's medical bay. A Corvathi elder approached Jassy and Daniel. Its crystalline eyes now held something they hadn't before: hope. Your species fights like demons, it said through the translator. Its 4 hands clasped in what humans had learned was a gesture of profound respect. We called for help. We expected no answer. Instead, you came through smoke and fire. Daniel nodded curtly. We're not done yet. We need to warn the other species. The devourers will spread. Then the galaxy must know, the elder said, its voice gaining strength. When the innocent cried out, humanity emerged from the smoke. Not as conquerors, not as destroyers, but as warriors who answer the call. Jassy met Daniel's eyes across the bay. They both knew this was just the beginning. The devourers would return. But now, the galaxy had something it didn't have before: humanity, and humanity didn't abandon its allies. The Prometheus turned toward Earth, carrying refugees and a warning. Behind them, Venthar burned. But its people survived, and that made all the difference.